Hello, friends. Welcome. Hello, friends. Welcome. I meant to say on this channel. This is the Mark Neil channel. It's a saga because I've been through a lot of things trying to get to this point. So to start off with, we were hoping that I was going to be awoken to my past life and be a teacher down here, and then other things come along and stop that. There was a conspiracy within the spirit realm against this awakening to try and stop it. Anyway, I'm going to talk about pollution, farming, fair treatment and humane treatment of animals. Now, pollution, I've spoken about it briefly already, but, we need to stop pollution. Just looking at the time. We need to stop pollution. It's destroying the world. It's causing global warming. It's polluting the water course. We're drinking that. All kinds of bad things happening through pollution. Governments are not very quick to act, even though they've had the G7 summit. And, it's not good enough. It's not nowhere near fast enough, the change that's happening. And, the unbelievable things are still being done by governments. I mean, this government in this country a couple of months ago, tried to open a coal mine 3 or 4 months ago, tried to open another coal mine, and there was such uproar about it, they decided not to. They backed down on that. And then a month later, they decide they're going to stop, their green tariff, that they're going to help people go green in their homes and stuff. So they have abandoned that, and then they issue new licenses for gas and oil exploration in the North Sea, and you say, well, this is ridiculous, isn't it? You know what I mean? They're sticking a knife hilt in the back of this world. They really are, by carrying on. We all know we need to go green, but the thing is, they make a lot of tax dollars out of every barrel of oil and gas and different stuff. They make a lot of tax out of it, and then it's sold to the public, and they have to pay a lot of tax on it, very high tax rates on fuels and different things. So they're making an incredible amount of money out of it, and it's greedy grabbing and backstabbing, because it's damaging the world so much. So they don't want to change, they don't want to, and we've got to, as the people, stand up and make them change, because we've got to save this world, and we're not going to save this world if we don't stand up. But there are things we can do personally, putting economy bulbs in, not polluting the environment so much by what we're tipping down the drain, washing our clothes in, putting down the toilet and different things like that. There's green products out there, which I use, that cut down that. So they may not be as harsh, but they're not destroying the ocean and the coral reefs and harming the fish. They've said by 2050 there'd be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And they're swallowing these microbeads and stuff, aren't they? The fish, and other bigger fish and, dolphins and whales, they're eating these things and it's getting into their guts, and, different bits of plastic floating about out there they're swallowing. And, we fish and we eat that, and it gets into our guts. And, so those that do, I'm a vegetarian. We've got to keep trying to change, our personal lives, because we can make a difference, each and every one of us. And I buy my green energy, from a firm, and they are all wind power and starting to do some solar power as well now. That's my electricity, and my gas is from them as well, and it's 5% better, but I'm paying lodgings where I am in this flat, so I'm a tenant, so I can't control what the heating's like. If I'd put a ground heater in, that takes heat from the ground, if it was my place, and go more green, but stuck with that. But with this company I'm with, all the gas and electricity used, they plant trees to offset the emissions. So it's a great company, really green company, and Ecotricity, really good in the UK. So I recommend them, I really do. So there are other ones as well. So you can change your habits and how much damage you're personally doing to the world. But we've got to get away from all the bad things, and just be that little bit caring about our world. because we're destroying it, and we're contributing to that every time we're doing something that's harming it. And we've got to use some power, and we've got to use some heating, and but it's where we buy it from, and it's what we do in our own home to preserve the world through the chemicals we use and the different things. So yeah, we need to change, don't we? But governments are the leaders of the world, and they're profiteers. I mean, governments are all about making money, aren't they? So they're reluctant to give up things that make money. But we've got to force it. We have, and quickly, because it's going to be 10, 20 years time. It would be too late to save this world. It really will. And they're slow to change. And the shops and the businesses, they've got to stop using plastic packaging and put more consumer-friendly packaging, recycling packaging. So getting rid of single-use plastics, as a few countries have, is really good. So then we go on to farming. The farming methods are terrible. It's all about mass profit and all the rest of it. But what harm's it doing? Well, we've seen beehive collapse and what the chemicals do to them. And some countries have banned them, others haven't. I mean, they just decided to let them use them again in this country, which is terrible. So, we've got to protect the environment, haven't we? Another life on it, because we're dependent on the environment, another life. So all the bees die, we all die. So yeah, one thing at a time. Now, organic farming's the way to go, as much as possible. And what you do is you plant the plants further apart so they don't get this disease so much, and that's how they succeed at these things. And in the greenhouses and places like that, they let lots of ladybirds loose to eat the aphids, so they don't have to use any chemicals in them at all. But outside farming's a bit different from that. Now, the treatment of farm animals, the intensive farming, it's appalling. Every life on this world is has feelings of some sort. Sentient, many animals are, and they have love, they have all the same range of feelings that we have, just less intelligent than us, if you could say that, because man's not exactly intelligent, the things he's doing to the world, is he? But no, but yeah, I mean, it's caring people. And the thing that saves worlds is love. Because it promotes care for the world and everything else. So caring, it goes a long way. But yeah, the treatment of animals is terrible. I mean, many of these intensively reared animals are fed antibiotics in their foodstuffs every day because they drop dead if they didn't through disease. And it is a hive for disease, in intensive farming. And we've seen what happened with COVID-19, haven't we? That spread from animals to humans, and more of this will keep happening. We've also seen in China, Hong Kong, wherever it was, swine flu and bird flu come out of there because of intensive farming, and they're kept in absolute foul conditions. They're not properly treated. They're not in a good sort of area where they can roam. They're stuffed in there so tightly they can barely move. So they're using drugs all the time on them to keep them alive. But, it's a recipe for disease, cramming everything together. It's even in like humans. You cram too many humans together, more disease will break out in them. So the same thing for animals. So that we need to go free range, and it needs to be enforced around the world that animals are allowed to have free range, and that it's organic farming as far as possible, because there's no chemicals in it then. Not necessarily in Europe so much. They don't have so many hormones that they put in the meats, but many of these poultry and cattle and different animals are given hormones that we're eating. And the hormones are designed that we put on weight. Those animals put on weight faster in other places that normally wouldn't do. So they become very plump and, worth more money. So, but you're eating those hormones in places too, and it's doing the same thing to you. You're putting on weight in places you shouldn't be. So at worst, you might start growing male genitals or female breasts or something, if it went completely crazy. And, it could to a degree, couldn't it? But the other thing is, that inhuman, heinous treatment of animals, experimentation on animals. And we have got to put an end to that. That is just absolutely heinous. These animals have feelings. They have emotions. They're being tortured. They're cutting the top of the skulls off of little monkeys and putting a great big metal implant in there to wire into their brains to try and experiment on the brain and see what they can do with that. It's absolutely unacceptable treatment of animals, and every caring person should protest against this, and wherever it happens. So lots of things to do. There are lots of things to do down here that we need to change, because we need to be humane, and not heinous. And, we need to stop fighting each other. And, as I said, love is the key to bringing peace to this world, but it's also the key to the correct treatment of the world and environment and ecosystem, and being responsible for the world. And we've all got to take that little bit of responsibility on personally for not polluting the world, haven't we? So, don't go down the beach and put all these sun creams in that have got microplastics in, or whatever it is. Don't leave your rubbish laying around in a lovely park. Take it home. Be responsible and look after the world, and do what you can personally, because that's the first step. Do what you can personally, because when you start doing it, you have more of an interest in protesting to your government to do it too, because public opinion matters, doesn't it? So we need to embrace this worldwide, don't we? Anyway, friends, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back soon. Love and light. Neil.